Hey everybody, Dave Canyon here. Dumbing It Down with Dave, episode 303. Welcome to the Dumbcast in a Carcast, which is basically my podcast. As I'm traveling to work on October 30th, it is 11:25 p.m. I'm on the New York State Thruway on my way up to Albany, New York, in which case I'll be getting into a tractor trailer, the trailer being a tanker, and I'll be heading up to Canada today. This morning, tonight, today, it's a little confusing. But I am calling you, I'm talking to you on the bottom of my phone, because that's the best I was able to come up with over the last 17 months. I'm back to where I started, talking to the bottom of my phone. I don't know if it's too loud for you, not loud enough, but I know this is the best I can do for now. I'm working on a different possibility, but of course I'm having technical issues with new technology. I had to actually call the Zoom Corporation, not Zoom, the phone thing that you guys everybody's been doing since the pandemic. It's the other Zoom, the Zoom that does recording. And it's two different Zooms. It's very strange, and they're both very popular. But one has nothing to do with the other one, which is really interesting. So that's what I'm doing. It is 11:26 now at night. I'm on the New York State Thruway, and I'm going to do a half-hour podcast, maybe a little bit more, probably not, a little bit less. And I'll do my best to share with you my pragmatism, truth, happiness, and the search for it all. There's a lot to talk about. I've already wasted a lot of time, but I just want to get warmed up. I like doing a little icebreaker, a little something for you. I want you to know that I kind of shocked and amazed. There's so many things going on, and there's so much to do. But yesterday, I was on the internet, and I was sitting at my table. It's my kitchen table where my office is. I don't have an office. Haven't really been able to do that over the last 17 months, although we're very close. And I say very close, I probably mean another Dave Canyon 6 months to a year away. But I'm very close on a shed. I'm learning a lot more about the size of the shed I want, the amount of money I'm willing to spend. I make it such a long, drawn out process. Most of you probably could decide a lot of these things in 2 weeks, but that's just not the way I roll. Life gets complicated, and I pay attention, I don't pay attention. So I'm into it, I'm not into it. I pursue it, I don't pursue it, and these things just seem to take forever. But anyway, so I was on the internet, and for whatever reason, this video popped up in my feed. I don't even remember. I say feed. I have no idea how it popped up. It doesn't really matter. But it was these two women from, I think, North Carolina. One of the Carolinas, Silk and Diamond and Silk. I don't know which one is which. I've heard them on the radio before, on Sean Hannity's program. You can't tell over the airwaves which one is which. And then I was watching it, and I go, I don't even know if they make a big deal about which one is which. One does seem to do most of the talking. Most of the talking, and the other one seems to do some hype or something. I'm not really sure. I don't really know how that works. Not hype, but just sort of chimes in. Maybe sometimes she takes the lead and the other one chimes in. I don't know how it works. It's the first time I've seen their video podcast. Anyway, they were, and they're two conservatives, I guess, for the most part, and they were interviewing Lara. I think her name is Lara. They refer to her as Laura, but I think her name is Lara Logan, Lara. I could be wrong. I'm going to have to look that up. I should have done that yesterday because I was curious. So it's Lara. So I think it's Lara, and she's also English, but they said Laura. So whatever. She didn't correct them. So she's either being polite, or she knows that, like me, well, these people will always mispronounce your name, and there's no point in saying anything because it doesn't really matter how they pronounce it. They're interviewing her, and she wants to get to the interview. Whatever it is, I understand that whole thing about misspelling or mispronouncing a name. It's been happening to me my whole life. So anyway, this was a really fascinating podcast. Now, I posted it on my Dumbing It Down with Dave Facebook group, which got zero activity. Nobody who listens to Dumbing It Down with Dave or anything. Nobody on Facebook, I think one person I know saw it and then commented via Messenger, which, fine. It's just that it doesn't help me with my algorithm. It doesn't help the group. It doesn't help the conversation. But he knows who he is, and I asked him, was he concerned? Are you concerned about commenting on the group? Because, I don't mind talking about it, but I post these things in the group for the group so we can discuss it as a group, because it's a safe space. Because it's the Dumbing It Down with Dave Facebook group. It's not the Dave Canyon wall where everybody and anybody can see it. It's in the group. So the group was created, and you've been invited to the group, or you invited yourself and you were accepted into the group. And I assume that there are certain protections because it's our group. It's a private group. You can't get into Dumbing It Down with Dave unless you agree to the terms. The terms have changed over the last couple of years because I included the terms that you won't post memes, GIFs, GIFs, spliffs, stupidity. That's, according to me, it's stupidity. So if you do, now they have a thing where you can actually decide what the penalty is. I can suspend you, I can delete you, I can do anything I want. I'm the only admin. There might be one other, but I'm basically the only admin of the group. So just don't post dumb memes, cute memes, any memes, and you should be okay. So anyway, he messaged me about his feelings about the video. So it's 1 hour and 4 minutes. It's 64 minutes. Not the entire. There's a whole 10-minute intro, I guess, or 5-minute intro. But they talked to Lara Logan, who I remember learning about her with 60 Minutes. Blonde hair, young British woman. I think she was reporting from Iraq or Iran, Afghanistan. I never know the difference between any of the three. Anyway, I'm such a bad, whatever it is I'm supposed to be. I'm not knowledgeable about where any of those three are. I just know we seem to be always in conflict with one or two or all three of them. And we send guys over there. We've been at war over there, the 20-year war. So whatever. Don't look to me for definitive observations or definitive knowledge of any war we're in. I very rarely understand any of the criteria. That's just me. But anyway, really great interview with Lara Logan for 1 hour and 4 minutes. I watched the entire thing. Now, that being said, I watched the entire thing, and some of it I watched with my head in my hands because I had to close my eyes, and I did walk around my kitchen a little bit. I had my earplugs in, and I made myself some tea, and my wife had an issue with her phone, but I definitely took in the whole thing. And it's a little painful to listen to because it was really about something that is very important to me if and when I do more Dumbing It Down with Dave, do a better Dumbing It Down with Dave. To a certain extent, I don't know how does anybody do anything in this world without putting any percentage of your life? Yeah, that's pretty well said. How does anybody do anything in the United States and the world for that matter? But of course, I like to only stick to the United States because I live here. Of course, Canada, they pretty much have somewhat of a similar life as we do. And any other, sort of democratic, non-socialist, non-communist country. But even then, how do we do anything in the world? How do we wake up in the morning? How do we go to sleep? And we don't put any energy into the missing children of the world. Really, if you stop and sit down, and wherever you are, wherever you want to sit down, and just sit there and think for a second. Oh, I'm worried about my house. Oh, I'm worried about my car. Oh, I'm worried about me. I'm worried about my wife. I'm worried about my children. I'm worried. Oh, I'm worried about my podcast. I'm worried about my singing career. I'm worried about my comedy career. I'm worried about my music career. Oh, I'm worried. Yeah, I mean, listen, all our lives, I'm worried about Dave mispronouncing my name. Oh, Dave didn't remember the name. I had okay, listen, whatever. I'm not good with names. especially whatever. But especially if I don't use your name. If I don't say your name, I don't use your name, I don't know your name. I forget who you are. Sorry. Okay. So, yeah, legitimately, sincerely, sorry. I apologize. I'm just, if I don't talk to you, if I don't acknowledge you and you don't acknowledge me or whatever, and, we have a face-to-face, ear-to-ear, mouth-to-ear, whatever conversation, I forget your name. It's, it's the way it is. So, how do we not put any energy into missing children? I mean, we're so bachelorette, the Rose, home improvement shows, reality shows, Alaskan Bush People, Housewives, sports. Oh my God, we're so into sports. CBS Sports, NBC, ABC, Fox, 4 major networks, ESPN, 5 major networks, major money, football, Monday Night Football, Thursday Night Football, college football, all those colleges looking for students, endowments, large endowments, all these candidates running around. I've raised 10 million, they've raised 30 million. I'd like to do a whole show on how much money is spent on campaigns. Hey guys, you got to donate. Those guys that got 30 million, I only got 10 million. Holy cow, $40 million for a job that doesn't pay anything near that money? Let's sit with that for a second. 30 million, 20 million, 10 million. One side is 30 million. The other side, I've heard this over and over again. Folks, those guys got 30 million. It's usually the Democrats for some reason. They've raised so much more money, supposedly. I don't know what the truth is. And then the Republicans going, hey, I need your help. The other guy got 30 million. I only have 10 million. For a job that pays what? Let's sit with that for a second. Does anybody want to question the validity of all of this? The integrity of all this? Millions of dollars. By the way, how polluted, I mean, not how polluted and how toxic or how corrupt are these elections, but think about all those signs. Think about all that energy that's put into getting a job. I mean, it's an important job nonetheless, I get that, but all those signs, where do they go when the election's over? They go in the garbage. The elections generate a lot of pollution. I'm amazed that environmentalists carry signs, unless they only carry homemade signs and they save them because they reuse them. Is that why they protest so much? Because, we made a sign, we got to use it. We don't want to throw it away. We have to recycle these arguments because we have these signs that are made up. Anyway, but there is a lot of pollution that goes into elections, obviously. And we burn a lot of carbon, I'm sure, whatever, fuel, driving to events, people on the campaign trail. But that's not what this episode is about. This episode is really about this Lara Logan interview, talking about the children, the missing children, the child trafficking, the sex trafficking, the abuse, the slavery, the wealth that's involved in this, the elite that's involved in this. And she does go down the rabbit hole, and she does talk about the blood of the children and the satanic rituals involving children and all that. So there's a part where I had my head in my hand and go, man, some of this is hard to believe. But belief, that's a personal decision. It's not always based on fact. It's what you're willing to believe. Nobody believed on September 10th, 2001, well, that's not really true, but nobody ever really, 99.9, my favorite number, 99.9% of Americans and people all over the world never thought anybody would crash a commercial airliner into any of those Twin Towers. What were you doing on September 10th, 2001? You weren't thinking, geez, I hope today we make it another day. I hope tomorrow we make it another day. Nobody crashes a commercial airliner, much less 2 of them. Nobody believed that. Anybody who said that, you go, you're crazy. There's all these systems in place. All these systems are in place to make sure those planes never make it to the Twin Towers. We have agencies that are involved in anti-terrorism. They all communicate because they all together. There's so many, the FBI, CIA, whatever, Secret Service, all these agencies that we hear about now that we didn't even know existed then. Yeah, they have a meeting. Of course they do, every week. Everybody gets together. They all talk about how we can all protect America. Right? No. They never talk to each other. I know something, I'm not sharing it with you. Because it's my guys that are going to we're going to defend the country, not your guy. We're not going to share the limelight. We're not going to work together. That's the way it was. We're not going to tell you. We're not going to share with you. We're going to keep it from you. How many agencies were not talking to each other? 3, 4, 5? I don't have a list of all the agencies, but it's true. We know it's true now. And anybody who openly said on the news or anywhere said, listen, man, I'm really worried about these buildings. They stick up so high in the sky, 102 stories, 110 stories, whatever it is. These planes, it's so easy to take a plane and boom, right into the building and not only kill thousands of people, throw the whole country into a recession or a depression. I mean, the whole world. Nobody would have ever thought that. Hey, one day these people are going to work on a disease and gain of function and bats, and the thing is going to leak out and it's going to... No, that'll never happen. You know why? Because scientists are smart. They're smart. They would never do something so stupid as to leak a virus. Never. All those movies made about leaked viruses, that's just movies. It's not true. It would never happen. And American money would never fund. It would never fund a lab in another country, much less China. Wow. Never happened. We would never do that. Nobody in our government whose last name starts with F and ends in I, who's about 5'2", with the most annoying, scratchiest voice, unlike my scratchy voice, would fund or direct any money towards any sort of scientific investigation that doesn't benefit the children, that doesn't benefit the parents of the children, that doesn't benefit the grandparents of the parents of the children. No. We would never think that anybody would be in a laboratory thinking about how we could create and whatever, manipulate diseases so they could become other diseases or whatever it is that they were doing. You don't have to put in the chat what they were doing. Whatever they were doing was up to no good. But it was legitimized. But if I said to you, this is what they're doing, you probably would say, no. Don't be ridiculous, Dave. What's with your conspiracy theories, Dave? Why do you think anybody would crash a commercial airliner? What benefit would anybody get? Crashing 2 commercial airliners into the World Trade Center, into the Twin Towers. Why would anybody crash a plane into the Pentagon? Why would anybody crash a plane into anything? Why? Who would do such a thing? Who would spend? How much time would it take? How in the world would you do that in this great country with all our security? You're a nut, Dave. Stop it. Stop talking crazy. Well, folks, I'm guessing that 99.9% of you really have no idea how many children are missing in this world and how often they go missing and why they go missing and how many ever are found, ever. Like a very small amount are found. Probably it's so small, it's immeasurable. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. I don't have the numbers. But if you watch this video that I posted, it's from Rumble, Rumble, and it's Silk and Diamond or Diamond and Silk, and they interview Lara Logan. But really, I think they ask one question, and then she goes off because she's well versed in this. Now, all that being said, Lara Logan has been largely maligned in the media these last couple of months or years. She used to work for 60 Minutes or CBS, then 60 Minutes, a very respected journalist. And then whatever happened, she spoke her mind. This is always how it goes, right? You speak your mind, they shut you down, and then they get rid of you. So she's been here, there, and everywhere since she's left CBS and 60 Minutes. I think most recently she was with Newsmax, whatever that is. I know what it is, but it's like Fox Light. You know, I don't know how not everybody gets Newsmax. I know one guy that's on there and whatever. He used to be on Fox in New York, and then he went and got a big hair transplant, changed his image, and now he's one of those guys. And frankly, I've seen his show. I'm not all that impressed. He was a lot better when he was on Fox New York, but he's not the problem. The problem is we as human beings. I always try to bring it back to being human, right? I always try to bring it back to being human. Not Republican, not Democrat, to being human. And I wrote something, I think I wrote this on my post, that it's what Lara is doing. And I am not the ultimate, arbiter on truth and fiction and lies and deceit. And I'm not the final, ultimate arbiter. But, whatever arbiter means. But most of us, if there's a fire in a building, we run away. If we're in the building, we run away. Very few of us would probably go, wait a minute, hold on. Where's the fire extinguisher? Hold on. Is there any sort of a water hose? Hold on. Did you call 911? All right, can we put it out with this? No. It's like, fire, fire. And then everybody runs. And very few people, just like those firefighters, those brave firefighters during 9/11, run into the building. They run into the building, they run up the stairs while everybody's running down and go to the fire. And there's a lot of news events, there's a lot of news items which are difficult to cover. I understand that. But most of them, people will cover a murder, they'll cover a fire, they'll cover an accident, whatever it is. It's, the OJ trial, whatever, these trials. But when it comes to children, this really evil, despicable, disgusting, dangerous investigating into child trafficking, child porn, child slavery, abduction. It's scary. And when she's not being protected by a network, and she says these things, especially when you get to the part of the satanic evil of it and the rituals and the blood, I had my head in my hands. It was hard to listen to because I'm imagining children in that situation. And I don't doubt that it is true. I don't doubt it. I believe there's millions and millions and millions of people in this world. To think there aren't 5 or 4 or 3, even 2 or 1 person in the world that thinks this is proper behavior, that I'm going to abduct, I'm going to kidnap, I'm going to cage, I'm going to put them in a tunnel, I'm going to suppress them, and I'm going to torture them. If you don't think there's one in this world that thinks that that's normal, then you're the same person that went, right? They'll never crash into the Twin Towers. They'll never crash into the Pentagon. They'll never do that. And we'll never have a pandemic that was born in a lab. That'll never happen. We're too smart for that. So, it's a difficult listen for the most part. I listened and I watched pretty much I listened to all of the 64 minutes. And there's a lot to learn there. And I do believe, given the opportunity, I would be right there with her. That moment in Jerry Maguire with Tom Cruise, is in the office and he's got his fish bowl or whatever. And he's like, who's with me? I believe I would say, Lara, I'm with you. But she's not looking for people to be with her, from what I understand. She's doing it. She's doing it on her own. I don't know who's funding her. I wish I won the $800 million lottery last night or the other night. I don't know. I didn't check my numbers as usual. But I would fund her. I'd say, Lara, what do you need? And really, by the way, I don't know who is or who isn't saying that, but anybody who has millions and millions of dollars, like George Soros or anybody, even if you're into no good, but you're not into child, torture and all that stuff, how are we not giving her money? I have money. I'll give her money. Absolutely. I'd give her money before I give it to any of those other charitable organizations, because I do 100% believe, if you get to the core, if you, just like in Star Wars, when everybody, was flying and getting shot at, in that whatever Star Wars it was, I feel like it's been renamed and renumbered so many times I can't keep up. But that first movie that they made, and they send that photon torpedo, it's probably a Star Trek term, I don't know, and they send that thing, boom, right into that little teeny weeny hole, and that's the little teeny weeny hole that blows up the Death Star or the Dark Star or whatever it is, and the Empire is supposed to be over. Apparently, I guess you never kill the Empire, whatever. I don't know anything about Star Wars, although I have recently become a big fan of all these, Star Wars type shows. But I think if you get to the core, to the hot mess of a core of this child abduction, child missing, child slavery, child porn, human trafficking, you get to the core of that, and there might be more than one core, I think you're going to end a lot of evil in this world. And I think you're going to expose a lot of millionaires and billionaires, including, people, all those names you've heard in the Epstein thing, which is why he's dead now. That saved a lot of people's lives. This I don't know. I don't think it's conspiracy. I think it's absolutely true. I can't believe this guy isn't alive. I really can't believe it. But, why would you spend all this time trying to get him, but not having a plan of having to keep him? Again, it's just like nobody will ever fly into the Twin Towers. Nobody would ever cause a pandemic. Nobody would ever do any of this. And they didn't think, once we get him, what do we do with him? Well, you do like we did with the Hannibal Lecter movie. You put him in the middle of a big building in a cage all by himself with cameras and lights, and hopefully he doesn't take your pen like he did in the movie, and and unlock himself. But everybody's watching him, and then he doesn't even have to leave that building to be on trial. You do it remotely. But they put him in a New York City, whatever they put him in. Next thing you know, these two security guards are shopping on the internet, and supposedly then he supposedly commits suicide. I mean, really? Maybe. I don't know what's true and what's not true. None of us do. Therefore, there's a great sense of lack of trust in this country. And this is a big problem. We got elections coming up. Somebody said, I'm so glad you're back. You'll be talking about the midterms. Yeah, I'd love to. But I was totally sidetracked yesterday with a 64-minute video. I posted it on my Dumbing It Down with Dave Facebook group page. If you're in it, comment on it. Share it if you like. Let's have a conversation about it. I would like to read your comments in episode 304. It's a closed private group. So if you're concerned about the message getting out, that people are going to beat up on you for your beliefs, I don't think you have to worry about that because it's a closed group. And I don't use your last names. If you don't want me to, I won't use your last names on the show. Just use your first names or no names, whatever. Listen, guys, you know how it works. The more you participate, the better everything is. If you leave me out here hanging and I'm all by myself, then every episode is just me by myself with no opinions and points of view that are different from mine, or just a little bit different, or whatever. It's just great when you are engaged. I really appreciate if and when you can engage with the show. So anyway, it looks like we're pretty much at 30 minutes. I'm looking, I got my glasses on, but I'm going to have to pull over here because it's hard to drive and see the numbers at the same time. It looks like we're at, 29:39. All right, folks, that was great. I really hope that I made some sense. I hope I was clear, and definitely tune into the next episode and participate. I'd love to have you.